You are listening to the Spacedastic Mysteries podcast. We are continuing Anna Gale Line's second novel in the Jaguar and Peacock series, Without Clearance. Colonel Jessa Masters, a fearless and seasoned federal agent for the Intergalactic Intelligence Bureau, IIB, commands the SpaceVessel Liberty with unparalleled precision. Alongside her partner and husband, Nate Masters, a skilled investigator with a sharp intellect, she has faced some of the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. But nothing could prepare them for their next mission, a personal one. When a fellow federal agent is found brutally murdered aboard the Liberty, the crime scene is not just a professional setback, it's a chilling threat that hits too close to home. As Jessa and Nate dig deeper, they uncover clues that suggest this murder is no random act of violence. It's part of a decades-old vendetta, a sinister plot aimed at dismantling Jessa's entire family. Without Clearance is a high-stakes, action-packed space thriller filled with twists, conspiracies, and a powerful tale of love and loyalty in the face of overwhelming danger. This is episode 9, How Well Do You Know? If you have not subscribed, do so now, and hit the bell to be notified of new episodes.
That's ridiculous, Colin ground out between clenched teeth, slamming his hands down on the dining room table. It is ridiculous to think that one of my guards could be involved. The guards you had no problem protecting you a few hours ago, I might add, he snarled, glaring at me, then at Nate. It's ridiculous to think that one of my guards could be a part of the drug ring. Colin, how well do you really know these people? Are there any new guards who transferred aboard recently that you have never served with? I asked Colin, not moved by his emotional outburst. I straightened my fatigues before I paced the length of the dining room table. Something I love to do when I question people. Not because I was nervous, but because it seemed to unnerve people, especially the guilty. A couple of them, Colin replied, tugging at the collar of his coveralls. After this impromptu meeting, Colin was scheduled to go on duty. Freedom Alliance regulations required each department head to work at least 3 night shifts a month. Any women? Nate prodded, pulling out the chair at the end of the table. He turned the chair around and straddled it, resting his arms on the back of it. Both of them are women. Why? Colin required, folding his arms across his chest. Nate and I exchanged curious glances. And these 2 women's names are, I prompted, stopping behind Colin's chair, pressing my hands down on the back of it. Lexi Sebastian and Ruthie Davidson, Colin revealed after he stared at Nate for a few seconds. He appeared to be pleading with Nate. When Nate didn't relent, Colin added, but neither of them could be your suspect. They are too sweet. Lexi baked me some peanut butter cookies the other day, you know, the kind with the real nuts in them, and Ruthie, well, she is the mother of 2 small boys. I rolled my eyes. I am a mother, but I still am an intelligence operative, I protested, patting my chest. It is never good to judge people by what they seem. Dig into their past. Find the skeletons they don't want you to know about. I looked over at Nate. Any further questions, Jag? Colin, you are free to go on duty, Nate remarked, giving our brother-in-law a dismissive wave. But this conversation must stay among the 3 of us, he called out to Colin, who darted out of his chair and stood at the doors. Lexi Sebastian and Ruthie Davidson, I repeated after Colin left, continuing to pace. From the living area to the dining area. From the dining area to the living area and back again. Then I crossed the room, following Nate down the hall and into our bedroom. The same room I had left this morning, feeling utterly lonely and betrayed. Now I locked the doors behind us, climbing onto the bed into Nate's already waiting arms. My, how things change in the course of a day. He bent his head down to kiss me. I drew closer so that our lips met. I could hear Reggie's and Remy's breathing. I had set the overseer up next to the clock on my nightstand. I split the screen, so that I could monitor Reggie's and Remy's rooms at the same time. After Reggie's birth, I became the typical overprotective mother. Much to Ben's frustration, I checked on Reggie every few minutes to make sure she was still breathing. The overseer would have come in handy back then. I know it did when Reggie became sick in the middle of the night. Tonight alone, Nate and I read Reggie and Remy 5 books. We brought them 8 glasses of water. We ushered them on 4 bathroom runs. We listened to 2 goodnight prayers that included everyone from "God bless Mom and Uncle Nate" to "Say hi to my dead dog Fido." We said 15 goodnights, "I love yous," and "Now go to bed, S." We turned on and off the lights at least 50 times. They were finally asleep and well on their way to dreamland, the place where anything and everything was possible. I snuggled up to Nate. Not that our room was cold, but just so I could be near him. It had been a long day and was shaping up to be a long night. Nate and I agreed to work on the case after we put the kids to bed. Neither of us brought up Abigail's name. Instead, we focused on the case in front of us. Eventually, I knew we would have to talk about what happened, but right now, I was grateful for the distraction. Although I was not grateful for the mad woman who was after my family that provided that distraction. Chip, give me the stats on Ruthie Davidson. Name, age, rank, expertise, marital status, number of children, arrests and so forth. Nate required the computer. Ruth and Davidson. Age 25. First lieutenant in the Freedom Alliance. Graduated from the Freedom Alliance Academy in 2149. Majored in security. She is an expert in 15 different martial arts, including Taekwondo, Wushu and Aikido. Married to Jack Davidson, a real estate agent. Has 2 sons, Mark, 8 and Luke, 7. When not on active duty, her residence is in Fort Sumter, South Carolina. Arrested in 2146 for drug possession. Spent 6 months in a Freedom Alliance drug treatment center in Fort Sumter. She could have dealt drugs to get money for her habit, I commented, rubbing my leg. I winced in pain. Nate leaned in and kissed me on the cheek. You okay? Yeah, my legs just ache sometimes, especially when I am under a lot of stress. Are you under a lot of stress? He wondered, grabbing my hand and looking directly into my eyes. Because of me? I stared in his dark eyes for a moment, those wonderful, concerned brown eyes. The color of freshly brewed cappuccino. Right now, they held a guilty/confused/concerned quality, and for a moment, or two, I got lost in them. When I returned to reality, I smiled. Only when you don't believe me. He lifted up my chin with his finger, drawing my face closer to his. Gazing into my eyes, he declared, Jessa Masters, you are the best agent I have ever worked with, the best partner, wife and mother I have ever seen. You can outwit the bad people, shoot straighter than any agent in the Intergalactic Intelligence Bureau, do homework with Reggie and Remy, host family dinners, run a star vessel and still have time to make me feel special all in the course of a day. I don't know how you do it. He pressed his lips to mine, kissing me several times before he went on, what I am trying to say is that, I have always believed in you. Your instincts are the things legends are made of. This morning, I took leave of my senses. And again, I am so sorry. I played with the tattered edging of the blue and white quilt on our bed. The Liberty had a climate-controlled environment, causing it to never be too hot or too cold. One could sleep with the covers off and never get chilly, but I preferred the covers. Something about being snuggled within the sheets and comforter lulled me to sleep. I didn't want to discuss Abigail. Not right now, at least. I knew Nate probably needed to talk about her, but I couldn't bring myself to discuss her with him. Instead, I instructed the computer, Chip, can you give me the same information on Lexi Sebastian? Alexis Priscilla Sebastian. Age 29. Captain in the Freedom Alliance. Graduated from the Freedom Alliance Academy in 2145. Majored in medicine. Minored in security. She is an expert in 5 different martial arts: Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Wushu, Aikido and Judo. She is also an expert in toxicology. Widowed. Husband, Daniel, died in 2147 in a shuttlecraft accident. Has no children. When not on active duty, her residence is in Hartford, Connecticut. I wonder if Lexi Sebastian has logged hours in the infirmary, I uttered aloud. Many people who have studied in 2 or more areas, such as Lexi, or are interested in more than one field, go into the rotation program, a few shifts here, a few shifts there. If she did spend time in the infirmary, she could have opened the supply boxes, Nate concluded, clearing his throat. That is a brilliant deduction. I spoke to the computer. Chip, has Alexis Sebastian done shifts in the infirmary? Alexis Sebastian is on the rotation program. She spends 3 shifts a week in the infirmary. I glanced at Nate, who nodded. She was definitely our prime suspect. We decided that an impromptu meeting with Alexis Sebastian tomorrow would be in order. Grabbing my quan pad from my nightstand, I asked, Chip, display a picture of Alexis Sebastian on my quan pad. Within seconds, a woman with ruby red hair appeared on the screen in the standard black flight coveralls with double bars on her lapel. Her hair was cut to her shoulder, the ends curled into a flip, her bangs long and pushed to one side. She had black eyes that seemed cold and distant. Her complexion was dark. A mole donned her left cheek and there was a scar on the side of her nose and one above her eye. Chip, now display a picture of Acacia Solomos, I further instructed. A woman with midnight black hair cut to the end of her chin came into view. Small build like Sebastian. Same mole in the same spot but no scars. Acacia had wrinkles where Alexis didn't. Even Acacia's eye color was different. Acacia sported a green color whereas Alexis were black. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe them to look the same. I don't know, I told Nate, staring down at the picture. Something about the 2 pictures seemed odd. I couldn't quite place it. But what could it be? Acacia probably wouldn't come to do the dirty work herself, she would probably send her muscle, Nate explained, slipped the quan pad out of my hands and looked at the picture himself. Ah yes, her enforcer. I bet there isn't a picture of her anywhere in our computer system. I grabbed the quan pad back from him. Maybe we can find some newspaper clippings about the Solomos family. Her enforcer might appear in one of the pictures. I programmed the quan pad to search for newspaper articles on the Solomos family within the last 6 months. If not, we can interview anyone who may have had dealings with the Solomos. A list of articles appeared on the small screen. I skimmed through several articles before one caught my eye. The headline read, False Imprisonment, Solomos Family Sues. I selected the article with my stylus. Scanning the article, I noticed a picture of a woman, approximately 5 feet 10 inches, 150 pounds, with dark hair that was molded into a crew cut, being fingerprinted. Her fingers appeared to be long and slender despite her large bone structure. Who was this woman, I wondered, searching for a caption to no avail. I read the article aloud, as the police continue to allege ties between the Solomos family and organized crime. The Solomos have filed a lawsuit citing that Hartford Police Department falsely arrested one of their own. Maria Damian, rumored to be the Solomos family's enforcer, was arrested Saturday after beating a man and leaving him to die in an alley. I tapped the picture with my stylus. So, this must be Maria Damian. That would be my assumption, Nate agreed, pushing my hair back and kissing my cheek. He leaned forward, glancing at the article. He pointed down further in the article, look here. It says, the Solomos family has been suspected of having connections with organized crime since the late 1990s. In 2002, federal agents Laura Madison and Thomas Kyle arrested the family's leaders, at the time, Sebastian and Lydia Solomos, for operating a drug cartel. Alexis Sebastian, probably named after Sebastian Solomos, I mused aloud, laying down the quan pad on my lap. I have a hunch that it is more than a probably, we just have to figure out if Alexis Sebastian is Acacia Solomos or Maria Damian, Nate concurred, grabbing a pillow from his side of the bed. He moved it behind his back. I also have a hunch that we are going to be up all night trying to figure it out. When an agent had someone using an assumed name under suspicion, standard procedure dictated that the agent compile a profile by interviewing the subject's friends, neighbors, associates. In this case, Nate and I spent the rest of the night, contacting people that were listed in Alexis Sebastian's file as former superiors, family members, and instructors. And it soon became apparent that not one of them had heard of Alexis Sebastian.